Hello members, this is cradle-to-grave series. We're looking at two stocks still, Equifax and gold. Let's start with Equifax. I've got a weekly chart up, and Equifax actually had made a nice big move up. You had a swing point high here, you get over it, and it into retest regions there, and then the spike up on this bar. Volume there compared to the test back into this bar was higher. So the test had less volume. Test into it, pushes around, it's going to go back up and try to test the tops up here. When it gets up there, then when you have to decide, do you keep everything you have or do you sell some? That will be the question. That price point is about 126.51. Equifax today is trading up a decent amount, but still has about another buck to go to get up there and test that. We had bought some on the retrace. Now we have to just decide, how much to sell on the spike back up. I suspect it's going to build out some sort of a range up here. Whether it ends up being this larger range, right, or whether it ends up being a shorter range, a smaller range. Either way, it's probably worth selling some and trying to buy it back and forth and build the position larger over time. Because on a long-term basis, this stock, and the reason we entered this stock's been a winner for a long time. If we look at the gold stocks, right now, gold, we've had a position in for quite a while now, and we're going to continue to hold that position because I'm going to start with the longest term time frame. Gold has done what it needed to do to tell us that an intermediate and probably a long-term bottom is in. And so gold now could trade back down quite a bit. This is the key bar on the way back. So on a long-term basis, for gold to fall out of favor now, it would have to break underneath this low. That low is 107, so it's a long way down compared to where we are. Can it trade back to that level? Sure it can. Will it trade back there? You don't know that. What you do know is that you got over the bearish retest regen. You've held it now for some period of time, and you can expect it to try to get over the swing point high on the next move up. And so gold is trapped in this larger range. Now, if we pull this in some and we look at it from a shorter term perspective, and in this case a weekly, on this time frame, gold has this spike up, the initial spike up, as its range that it's probably going to try to trade in now. And so when we look at it from this perspective, I would think that you want to see gold trade back into this bar as the next real buy area, and where you try to add. The fact that it spiked up like it did, had the volume, this area up here is where I'd be looking to sell some and buy back into here if I'm trading it on a more active basis. As you know, I've been trading other things rather than just gold. I've been accumulating gold. I've been trading GDX and silver as the trades versus GLD, which is the accumulate. And so I don't think that's going to change. And so if we go over and look at those charts, where would we be trying to buy the GDX, for example? You can actually see a kind of just round level numbers all the way down here. The 25 numbers, the first one, it's already underneath that. The key level next is probably around 24, then 23, 50 or so, and then, 2250, just above it 23. So 24, 23, 22, all those areas on the way back are buy areas. My expectation here is the GDX will build out some sort of a range. Does it come deeper into this retest regen, or does it stay up here? That's kind of an open question, and we'll just have to play that by ear as it trades around. But the expectation is that one's going to be able to buy it back into this area, and that's where the big buys are going to be. The first, if you go to the daily, the first buy area actually is going to be off of this bar, and that's about 24. So around 24 is where I think the first buy is, a bounce, and then some sort of a trade down lower over time. That's the stocks that we're trading in now. GDX, which we'll probably try to trade in. And that is the cradle-to-grave series. Thanks.